Hi there, it's Rob here from the Gym Team. Welcome to this mobility method. Today we're looking at hamstrings, lower back and calves. And seeing how our hips and our pelvis move. Okay, grab yourself a pint of water, take a sip, look around your lips and hydrate. Cheers. Okay, as always, put on some nice quiet music for you. This is time for you to rest and digest. So none of these activities should be stressing you out. If you feel like you're really having to push and work for it, you're taking it too difficultly. So take down the difficulty level, enjoy it, relax. The more you relax, the easier you take this, the better the results. And the reason behind that is the more you hit your sympathetic nervous system, the more cortisol you release, the less effective the stretches and the movements are. The more we hit our parasympathetic nervous system, the more we rest, the more we digest, the better we stretch because there's less things trying to pull and more things allowing relaxation. Let's go for it. Okay, so from here, finding yourself a nice mat and closing the doors, giving yourself some time to rest and digest. Okay, so from here, check around one way, check around the other, and make sure you've got plenty of room for your training. Okay, so from here, as always, we're going to do this in our bare feet. We're going to turn our big toes in just slightly, we're going to drive our pelvis forward, and we're going to raise up through into a calf raise. Now, if you know you can't do that effectively, use a wall, use a chair, use a stool, whatever you need to do to lift and move up, down. You're using both feet, and I want you to think of your foot as a tripod. So big toe, little toe, and the heel are working through nice and controlled. So we have an equal distribution through the foot and a strong lift, and we have a slow and controlled lower. Now, as you extend up, I want it to be relaxed, okay? It's not 100% as fast as you can go. It's slow and controlled. And if you're able to relax into this enough, I want you to try and keep the movement slow, stay movement through, and then do it with your eyes closed. Are you able to balance? Are you able to move slowly and controlled? As you're doing it, feel what happens in your toes and in your feet. As you come back down into that position, have you kind of gone out of balance or are you in balance? As we're moving up through the calf raises and slowly lowering back down, we should be feeling that easy, slow, controlled movement. The heels are literally tapping the floor. Perhaps we can get a little bit more elongation. But it's slow, easy movements. And at any point, you should be able to just stop. Move and stop. Move, stop. And keeping it controlled all the way through. Find a spot on the wall if you're finding balance difficult. Grab anything if you need it. But basically the science tells us that if our toes don't move effectively, if our heels don't move properly, then our hips and our shoulders don't move properly. Now, if these three big joints, ankles, pelvis, shoulders, don't move, then the knee and the back has got no chance. Good work. So standing on our right foot. If we go back into our standing position here, we want our feet nice and parallel. Now the big toe anatomically loves to be turning just slightly. When we go into here, we want our pelvis to the knee to the second toe to be nice and straight, or otherwise known as the neck of the femur here, right into position. We're going to balance and lift that leg out. And then we're going to slowly pull back in. Now again, you might need one finger on the wall. You might need slower control firing up through the glute. If you've got the balance, take your hands to your head. As you do it, can you keep your pelvis forward, your shoulders back, your chest lifted? Now at this point, you might be finding your standing foot is on fire. Really starting to ache. Mine is, my calves are working hard and we're finding that stability. Changing by rolling the ankle that you stood on. Again, go slowly, open it up, change the direction of it. Stand on the left foot, turn the toe in, get your balance, lift the leg. Feel what's happening in the standing foot. And as you've gone wide, the big toe to the little toe to the heel should be engaged to the floor. Our torso lifted, our shoulders back, our chest working strong. Again, take your hands to the head, maintain your pelvis forward, shoulders back, chest lift. Four more here. Three more here. Two more here. Last one. Release, shake it out. The standing leg will have got tight because it's fixating. It's trying to stop you falling over. So we're just going to try and move that hip around inside the pelvis. And as you do it, your body's clever, it tries to help, it tries to turn the pelvis forward. We're going to try and keep the pelvis forward. We're going to try to oscillate that leg. We can counterclockwise it. And we can relax it. We can take the feet wide. We can turn our toes in. And we can tilt to the side. We can release all the lateral chain of our body that grabs and works together to stabilize our pelvis. We can feel our big toe to little toe down to the floor. We can feel our heel taking an equal amount of pressure. And if you've done that right, every now and again you should have to just reassess and realign your toes. Now imagine you're in a toaster. We're going to lift ourselves up just a little bit higher. We're going to take a foot a little bit wider. We're going to see if we can just tilt the torso this time. Really making the lumbar of our spine take the load. And we can probably feel like muscles on the side of our body, perhaps from our 12th rib to the top of our pelvis, through that QL, the quadriceps lumborum. You might find it here in the obliques, trying to fixate and stabilize here. And again, we're trying to make sure that the feet are flat and contained to the ground. Now from here, we're going to shift. We're going to keep it all to the right side. So you're going to flex your right knee, gently come back up. Now center your body, keep the torso up, and see how low you feel comfortable going. Now, if your side lunge here allows that knee to buckle out, you must step your foot wider so that the widest point of stability, the thigh, is stable, the toe is in ideally, if we can, and the knee tracks the midpoint of your second toe. What we're trying to do is break the movement, stabilize the knee, keep the strength through the foot. We do 2 more here. Now notice as well that my torso stays up and faces forwards. If you're here and you've turned, you've lost thoracic tension here. You've also lost lumbar tension down here. What we're trying to do, having just moved the sacroiliac joint, is build up the strength of those muscles that have got long, and we just lengthen those muscles that have got short. We're going to take our feet wide again, and turn our toes facing forwards, spread our toes out wide, and we're going to tilt to the side. Now as we go out to the side, we stick our bottom back, and as we come through, we lift our pelvis here. And again, stepping wide. And as you're doing this, if you're keeping these feet nice and parallel to each other, you'll definitely feel the medial aspects of this hamstring group. So the hamstrings, the inner side of those hamstrings are likely to be giving you a bit of stretch if you're allowing your bottom to sink back behind you and tilt into it. We go sideways on here, this backward slide. So I'm sticking my bottom back as I side stride into it. And I have to show you from front on as well, because otherwise you won't see this movement here. Again, imagine you're in that toaster. We're taking our bum back. And again, if that knee were to track outside that foot, I can just take that foot a little bit wider. As my confidence builds, I can get more pelvic movement, more SI movement. So if you struggle with sciatica, or lower back pain, or hamstring strength work, or hamstring tension, which causes, in my opinion, 90% of all back problems, and this is great for you. Step it in, butt kick. So from here, we're going to take our torso high. Again, this class is slow, controlled, easy movements. This isn't about boom, 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 how many can you do? This is about can you control and activate your hamstrings and slowly lower again. Four more here. 3 more here. Keep this foot off the floor. It's not allowed to touch the floor, it's hovering here. Side of my lateral side of my body is working hard to grip and stabilize that side. Rest, change side. Toes face forward. Hamstring curl through. Strong lift. Hamstrings fire. Four more here. 3 more here. 2 more here. 1 more here. And release. Shake it out. Okay, so from here, feet facing forwards, toes slightly medially rotated into the second toes or parallel drive pelvis forward to chest lift. From here, we're going to balance on our right leg. And we're going to step, hover here. You might need the wall if you need it. Okay, and I want you to feel as you stepped across that this foot, standing foot, stayed flat to the floor. Okay, we now look down at our feet and we see, can we get our toes level? And it's like that crossover. So the foot should be nice and parallel to the other one. If you can find this immediately in your glutes, and you'll know this because if you stand up straight, and you get your pelvis trying to twist, you should be able to keep your pelvis square, your feet nice and level and over. And your toes should be level. And there should be a fist gap between your feet. And you should be pushing through your big toes to your little toes to the floor. We're going to hinge, and we're going to drop. And you might get to here, and you'll find your hamstrings, and you're just going to stop. Now, if you can't get everything level, it's not the end of the world. This is a brilliant stretch. I'm just trying to show you what is capable of what's been perfect out of that move for a stretch. Now, when I get to this low position here, I'm now going to put my hands on top of my thighs. I'm going to allow my backside to tilt behind me. I'm going to feel that strengthening, perhaps in my quadriceps, and I'm going to find definitely that lengthening out through my hamstrings. I'm going to allow my bottom to sink backwards, and I'm going to find that lengthening through the hamstring group. As I come through into standing, I balance on my right foot. I step that foot wide and over, and I hold. I'm going to hold that foot and hover. I'm going to see if I can hitch whilst keeping that foot balanced off the floor, up and back down. This is controlling mobility. And you should be able to lift and move. You don't have to do the hands. You can have your hands on your hips if you want to. You're literally allowing that foot to just tap the floor or just hover the floor before you lift again. Release, shake it out, work through a butt kick. And we're going to swap it over. So the right foot is now going to step over the left. We check the posture of the left foot by making sure that the second toe is parallel faced forwards to where we're going. We're going to drive our pelvis forward. We're going to balance on the left foot and lift our right foot up. We're going to hover that right foot over to the side of the left foot. Keep it off the floor. As you're doing it, keep holding here. You want to feel the big toe, little toe to the heel of your foot is engaged as you're trying to hold this. As you stabilize, we take the foot over and we try and find that gap that is a fist gap apart. We're now going to stick the bottom back, take our hands on top of our thighs, and push our big toe down to the floor. You might find a clunk comes out of your SI joint, that little lower joint is every chiropractor's favourite friend. So as the spine joins into the pelvis, that's what you're finding maybe getting a bit more movement. From here, you want to find your big toe to little toe down to the ground. You want to find the extension through the back of your leg. And you want to find that hold nice and controlled there. Slow, controlled, nice deep breaths in and out. And again, we're slowly going to push our pelvis back a little bit further. You might need to come up and out of it each time. Feel that lengthening down. Now again, if you're finding this is painful or it's working too hard, again, you've activated the sympathetic nervous system. We didn't need that. We need more rest and digest. We come through into standing, driving the pelvis forward, trying to keep the feet flat down. If you find that you cannot do this simple standing position, allowing the hips to move in the pelvis, then you need to work some more mobility. Balance, and step and hold. See if you can balance this leg. And again, the right leg, we're going to work on our hip lifts and drop. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. This foot never touches the floor. 2, 1. And release. Roll it, shake it out. Really, really well trained. Let's have a little butt kick to finish that. I hope you enjoyed that training session. Stability, mobility work there. Really, really good stuff. A really tough little training set. But if you're really tight in your hamstrings before and your hip flexors, you should find that was nicely released all the way through. If you play a lot of rotational sport, like golf, like tennis, maybe rugby, you know, all of these rotational sports, you'll find that was quite useful for you. You should feel your back's a lot better for it. As always, please do grab yourself a good drink of water, hydrate well after that class. If I can help, please DM, get in contact with me. Let's get you training properly. Cheers. Thanks so much. I'll see you next time for the next one. Well trained.